Well, good morning.
Good morning. How are you? I
Did
like
you
this
like
outfit.
did you like our new intro?
I did.
You
It
know,
was
I
lively. It was jovial.
I added a little pizzazz.
I enjoyed it very much.
We
I
are
enjoy
in
your YouTube black shirt.
we are improving the production quality because we tried to launch another project. But this is the one we got to focus on right
Yeah.
now. We were doing too
I
much,
feel like
honestly. You know what I mean?
that's the Aries way to do too many things.
It worked
And then
itself
skip it.
out. Happy Monday. Today is February 10th, 2025. I'm Julesy,
I'm Stephanie, and we're
allegedly
still here.
Stephanie. We're still
Allegedly
here
Stephanie.
providing the news with levity. And this week going forward, we will be doing it Monday and Thursday.
Yes. Here on
At night,
YouTube
we'll
and on
try to be
Twitch.
better at 9:30 a.m. Today was a little late start. It's the beginning of the week, okay? But yes, mustard. Um, it's kind of hard to wake up, like work out, do the schoolwork, get on here on time because I do a lot in the morning. We both do a lot in the morning. The Monday after a big Sunday night, the Sunday before we had the Grammys, and this
hmm
Sunday we have Kendrick Lamar and the Super Bowl halftime show.
Kendrick with a side of football.
It was
And my
actually,
favorite.
yeah,
Oh,
Samuel
go
L.
ahead.
Jackson. It was actually
That,
a short halftime show for a show
it
at
was.
5:30. Yeah, typically the halftime shows are 30 minutes long, and he did 13 minutes.
I wonder if 13 was an homage to the 13th Amendment because I feel like all the think pieces there. I feel like all the think pieces are going to come out and give you all of the breakdown of the symbolism. So let me start with my one hypothesis
You think
for that.
an
Oh, we got
homage to the 13th Amendment?
listen. If people are going to take it where I think they're going to take every single detail of this, I want to put that one down. I
You
think that would
know,
be a good
I
one.
knew TikTok was going to be a shit show because I think the Han, who is a slightly white presenting biracial woman, said that Beyonce during her NFL halftime show for the Christmas Day game that Beyonce was America's best propagandist. And I think a lot of
hmm
people got stuck on that and didn't hear what the rest of what she said. Regardless of how you feel about that statement, Han was saying the performance was so good, she's definitely going to be down to the tour in her cowboy boots. And I knew people were going to get on TikTok and be like, Kendrick is America's best propagandist. And then try to turn it into a word salad because they took that video as if she was just like dragging Beyonce. And so now they're going to like make a joke of like intellectuals, whatever. And I'm like, if we were to like make fun of what Han said about Beyonce, the commentary would actually be Kendrick Lamar is America's best propagandist because
Yes.
he did so good with this show while still cloaking himself in the colors of the red, white, and blue.
Did. The
And I
American
will pay
iconography.
$400 to be at the Grand National. First of all, his ticket seats are too damn expensive, though. Kendrick, give us $100 off this Grand
Yeah,
National tour.
400 is in this economy is a bit steep. Also, I should have said the 13th Amendment was the amendment that abolished slavery. Just in case, civics, the lessons weren't the same across all the curriculums for what it's worth. So now we have that stated. I think it's interesting that now we are going to have to be forced with, it seems to be that most Black performances are going to utilize the red, white, and blue. And how do we feel about the red, white, and blue? And I think the usage of Uncle Sam being Samuel L. Jackson, I like the subversive tone of that. I will say
I
it did grow
do.
on me.
I hate now that like I need to log off TikTok. That's what I got to do. I got to spend less time on that app because I hate now that like because there was this whole outrage cycle around Beyonce that everything now puts Beyonce in comparison mode, which I think is unfair. But
Yeah.
I do in particular, if we are going to engage in using red, white, and blue and the American flag and Americana imagery as a critique, I think there's something interesting about the way Kendrick chose to do it, which instead of using the flag outright, he put all dark. First of all dark skin. I would like us
I
to
will-
know it's everybody's melanated, okay?
The women, I did notice the women were significantly lighter. However, for the men, everybody was dark skinned.
You know,
So
and
they could have improved on the casting there.
it's all dark skinned men. It's particularly in this imagery for the most part, and it's West Coast style of dress.
hmm I
Right?
love the do-rags. I love that a few people, their hair is also dyed this shade of like almost maroon red, which I thought was
Mm.
really interesting. It's not American flag crimson red. So I think the shading of the red is also a little bit interesting. And then how he has some people covering their faces.
This is
I
some
love
the
the
denim,
sweatsuit,
the jeans. This is some
the little
short nigga
flare, the boot
fashions that
cut.
I appreciate. You tall man, I don't know. Depends on your style. But my baby daddy short. I might get him a pair of jeans like this. They
I
look
think
good on him. They look really good.
I like them. I like the fashions for what it's worth.
Yeah, Nay was
I'm
saying she
waiting for
didn't
it to
like the
get to my
fashions.
favorite part, which is Serena crip walking.
I was okay. That's later in the thing. I don't know. Can I fast forward this? I just added the thing, so it is gonna cycle through the full 13 minutes of the clip. But Serena Williams in here, crip walking in. It's towards the end. Crip walking in blue, which technically is gang colors. Here we go. Towards it's when Not Like Us came on. Mustard. You know what? Oh, there it goes. First of all, DJ Mustard, who did some. There goes Serena. Okay, first I want to
This
make
is
the
my
point
favorite.
about DJ Mustard being an ancient ass nigga who's winning right now. Because the way he treated his
Winning.
wife dirty, baby, I could never forgive you for that. But Serena
Never.
Williams being recently baptized as a Jehovah's Witness and being and crip walking
We
in
have to
gang
start from the beginning.
colors.
We have to start from the beginning of why this is my favorite part and why this is a win, not only for Serena, but for all the women that have been harassed. Drake has been harassing her because this is his ex-girlfriend. They used to date. Like the fact that Serena Williams would even look at you, he should have kept it, happy and been like, wow, what a miracle in my life. But instead, he has been harassing her online for years, harasses her husband. And the fact that she is now, crip walking at his funeral, two claps for me. I would say this performance was exaltation of hateration, and it did make my spirit happy. I'm not
That
gonna lie.
chain is ridiculous. The A minor chain he has on.
I didn't even notice that the first time. Again, I am kind of excited to see all the think pieces. Usually the think piece, you're just kind of like, okay, are we going to beat this into the ground? And people will beat this into the ground, but I'm excited to read all of them for what it's worth, to see all the different angles and different symbolism that people come up with and assign to this.
Yeah, was there anything? I don't know. I wonder what people have to say about him using him Kendrick Scott Heron taking the Gil Scott Heron "the revolution will not be televised" line and being like, the revolution is televised. Can the revolution take place during the
No.
NFL halftime show where you've accepted millions of dollars for this performance? If we want to be deeply Afro pessimistic, intellectual.
Where Trump was, present as
Eh.
well.
Was Trump in
I
the
was glad the
audience?
audience booed Trump. Trump was there for the Super Bowl. Him and Melania did a walkout and a wave, and the crowd booed them. And I was like, come on, crowd. Don't let fascism
Oh, I didn't
catch you.
watch the very beginning of this, so I did miss that. But I honestly, I think I might. I don't know. We have to see what these Beyonce tickets are giving on Thursday because I have not bought Grand National Tour tickets because the prices. This is. I gotta get a closer look at her wig too. What was it giving? Serena, you look good, though, girl. I'm just cracking. I hope we
Okay,
don't
with
get this
you.
fellowship for that. But
I think she looked great. I think she looked
oh, they're
great.
saying the stream got cut off on YouTube.
Oh, did it? It probably copyrighted the
That
actual
clip.
imaging, so it knows it
Ah,
coded the imaging. Oh, come on, but we're not playing any of the music. YouTube said stop that. You will not be doing that. Dang. I wonder, did he get paid for this? Because usually the Super Bowl, they don't get paid, right? Performers.
let me see what's happening on the YouTube side. No, he do they not
Yeah,
get
they do.
paid? Because well, it is a great like press tour.
Yeah, it's like a huge press tour, and then apparently, I guess the NFL covers the production costs sometimes, and then most of the times the performers also cover some of the production costs, if not all of it. I guess it depends, but I don't guess they don't outrightly get paid. Let's
Well, if you're
see.
on the Twitch now, please subscribe to the Twitch. But I do
Subscribe
think
to
the live is back up on YouTube. Let me see. It says we're
Okay.
live. There's no notifications.
Okay, good.
Let's see.
That was
Let me
YouTube warning us. They're like, stop playing this.
We played it. Oh, stream unavailable. No, it does say stream suspended for policy violations.
Oh,
Oh my gosh, that is
okay.
crazy. That is so
Are we
shady.
gonna get a strike? We're not gonna get a strike.
I mean, we're not monetized.
Oh, that's true.
So, like, what is even a strike? It says they are up
Hmm.
on Twitch. I wonder if.
So would we have to re-upload this, and then we just have to put something over the imaging? The Twitch is politics popped as well.
No, we can start. I'm trying to
Or do we
figure
have to
out
start
if we
over?
can stop, and start again.
Oh
I can
yeah, we just set up a new
pause.
one. We can pause. We can pause it, and then we probably have to set a new live stream link and then
Dag,
redo
I
it.
thought we could get away with the video without the
It's,
audio. They're so strict. Ew. Like,
and
you.
they're not strict about other things, which I find fascinating. Because there's rampant amounts of propaganda running around. And I'm like, you would think that they would like the
We
American
were
propaganda.
doing good. Let me see. Options. High quality video mode. CrossFit.
Yeah, I think we have to do a new live stream link on YouTube. And
Oh, it
then
says
just,
we're back.
we're back on YouTube. We're back where?
Is that you have
It's,
your email? You have.
it's my email. Hold on. I'm going in our shared email. Let's see. Oh, yeah, your stream was interrupted. Streams are interrupted when copyrighted content is detected. After copyrighted material is no longer being streamed, streams are automatically re-enabled. That's what the email says. So it should re-enable now that the content is gone. Let me go on the channel.
I'm looking now. No, we're back. We're like
We're back.
staring at the computer screen. We're back.
Okay. So what
Sorry,
is it going to be?
guys. That was a first. Oh wow. It's okay. We're not monetized. That's why I was like, typically, if we were like on my YouTube channel, I would have altered the content so that we could play it in the background. But we didn't even have the audio. Ugh.
They said no.
Ugh.
They said none of that.
Okay, let's move over into other. Well, we're still gonna be talking about the Super Bowl.
You can just put a pause and just do Samuel Jackson's face.
We could, but I mean, I think we said all we had to say about the Super Bowl. What else was there to say about the halftime show?
I think that was everything. Somebody did mention that he did end the show with the TV off, so maybe that was in homage to the entirety of the original song of the
Yeah.
Revolution Televised. So I'm like, okay, come on,
I
referencing.
was just poking fun. Honestly, I
Yeah,
enjoyed the show. I also enjoyed Beyonce's show. I don't really, not that I don't care for the critique. I just prefer critique in long format.
I agree.
And
Critique
so,
on TikTok is rough.
yeah, I'm looking forward to if somebody has a salient critique of it being made in prose, long format prose, and I will be reading it. Thank you. I enjoy
Same.
that sort of like intellectual scratching of the brain. The way it pops up in like short form video content is so antagonistic and bombastic, and also often just leading with how do I get the most engagement rather
Hmm.
than making a point and carrying that point through.
I'm waiting for the cut article.
I did not, you know what? I was watching the football game with my toddler who was like doing a million and one things. So I did not see the protesters with the Palestinian and Sudanese flag. Was that not part of the show?
I only watched the halftime show. I didn't want. I'm not much for the football, for what it's worth. I don't think I saw it in the halftime show.
Oh, it says Super Bowl halftime performer. Yeah, like I. Oh wow, arrested. This is kind of crazy. Let's see.
Oh.
Detained after unfurling a Sudanese Palestinian flag. I thought this was part of the set.
Oh, I didn't see this. This must have been when I looked away. I was also watching it on Tubi for what it's worth, so I
But
don't know if they
shout
were
out to
streaming it.
whoever this is. That was like a very bold and like very okay. They didn't televise it.
Oh, okay. I was like, I didn't see that.
Shout out. I
Well,
hope.
good
I
for
hope.
them.
I hope Kendrick posts his bail or whomever that is. The NFL confirmed the person was part of the 400 member field cast.
Wow.
This individual will be banned from life from all NFL stadiums and events. That's crazy.
That's very harsh for simply bringing awareness to genocides going on that are being funded by colonial powers that be.
Rock Nation, the entertainment company which produced the show, said that the act was neither planned nor part of the production and was never in any rehearsal. What a way
Rock
to take
Nation
a
would say that.
stand.
I hope Kendrick doesn't say anything. And if he says something, I hope it's in support of this person.
I don't need him to say anything, but I do need them to take action in support of the person.
Yeah.
I think it's very crazy to engage in the performance art of revolutionary acts, of subversiveness, of protest, of, Black power and Black liberation, and not take a stand when it's this easy.
This would be back to whether or not these politics are thin. But we're going to see in real time on whether or not he bails that person out, pays for their legal fund, and all of those things.
Well, I did want to do a little celebratory for the Black team winning. Shout out to the Black quarterback and the Eagles fly, from winning Super Bowl. Somebody was like, it's 2 Black quarterbacks. I was like, it's 1.5.
Especially because the other one and their family are huge MAGA supporters,
Yeah,
and because
Trump
his wife
supporters.
likes to do weird things and embarrass him. That interview is very strange when they asked her, "Oh, what kind of food do you make that is his favorite that makes him feel better?" And she said fried chicken, and he was like, "I don't really like fried chicken." And we're talking about Patrick Mahomes and his wife and their MAGA family. Very strange. So I was glad that the other team won.
As a person from the suburbs of Philadelphia, because I grew up in Newcastle, Delaware, I'm happy for this one. I'm happy that all my homies back home who have been very vocal and loud like Bubba on TikTok, all my friends act exactly like that man when it comes to the Eagles. I'm happy for my community. This was it was not a good game. It was actually kind of like y'all really gonna let y'all asses get beat like that? Damn, put up a fight, Chiefs.
I was surprised when I tuned in to watch Kendrick that the Chiefs hadn't scored. I was like, oh, shouldn't y'all have 7 points? Isn't that what it is?
The game was over
like,
after the second quarter, but whatever. You know what I mean? I didn't even get any good chicken wings yesterday. Maybe it was a waste of my time, but let's move on to the politics of this week. This was actually a quieter weekend than I thought it was going to be. I thought Elon was going to be up to his shenanigans again, but it seems like the courts are kind of slowing him down.
I have an article about that. It was like the second article because I do want to address what the courts are doing, and I want us to keep our guard up because the court are the people that essentially are ruling whether or not it's unconstitutional, but they are not the enforcement arm. So just because the court tells him to stop doing something, they can't make sure that him and his,
but he's disabling the enforcement arm.
Exactly. And that makes him a continued dangerous threat. So our first article is from Al Jazeera. Do Elon Musk and DOGE have power to close U.S. government agencies? And I thought that this was important and helpful because there is a lot of rightful confusion as to what the hell is DOGE? Is DOGE even a real legitimate agency. There are constitutional lawyers as well as civil rights lawyers, as well as a lot of legislators that are questioning whether or not Doge even has a right to exist. So there's not a clear cut yes or no on whether or not the existence of this government entity is even legitimate. And I think that cannot be understated enough. If we could scroll down a little bit. Okay. And Chuck Schumer, while he is on the wrong side of history for what is going on in Gaza, I think this was a very apt tweet, which is an unelected shadow government is conducting a hostile takeover of the federal government. Chuck Schumer is one of the senators from New York. DOGE is not a real government agency. DOGE has no authority to make spending decisions. DOGE has no authority to shut programs down or to ignore federal law. DOGE's conduct cannot be, and then it goes on to essentially say there is no legal basis for this quote unquote government agency and therefore Elon Musk to exist in this way. And that's frightening because while we can all say that and assess that and see that, who's actually stopping him from essentially getting access to all of these government agencies?
And if the Republicans are going to roll over and take it because, and this hits on all the emotions people are having on social media right now about who lost the election for Kamala, had a hand in it. Please remember, she lost the Electoral College, the popular vote, then the House of Representatives, where every seat was up for election. Mm-hmm. The Democrats lost the House of Representatives. Then we lost the Senate. They got like 4 seats over us in the Senate. It's like 47, something. I'm bad at math.
I was going to say, math is not my ministry. Don't look over here.
But you know what I mean? So it was like, there's not one thing that lost the election for Kamala. There was like a confluence of things that happened that got us to a Trump re-election. So just be mindful of that before you point your ire at specific individuals.
Particularly individuals that don't live in your community when we're talking about the House of Representatives. That's only the fault of the people in your community for not voting for either a good Democratic candidate, if you had one, or the better candidate out of the two.
I have a Democrat House of Representatives, a Democrat rep, Alma Adams, and I don't really think she's going to do anything, even if she had the means to do anything.
Mine doesn't. I've called their office so many times. They inherited a brownstone, so they're living good.
And then the Democrats put a lot of their effort into pushing out the progressive members of Congress, like Cori Bush and
Jamal Bowman. Which there are some other issues there too, but
Bowman, but the Wesley Bell, Cori Bush thing is absolutely insane. It was a bad play on the Democrats. Mm-hmm. But we are here now, and so thank you for the tweet, Senator Schumer. But
what are you gonna do? You're tweeting, and you need to be in the halls of Congress, being like, "Hello, only Congress has the power of the purse."
I don't really think it comes down to politicians doing anything. I do think that there's going to have to be some organization that rises up. And honestly, this is where I am like, I don't need Black people to be the one rising up.
I mean, collectively, there aren't enough of us to have caused this problem. For what it's worth. However, we are going to get affected first.
If y'all going to take a little bit more strategy like Luigi Mangione, I feel like more of his ilk.
We're going to get the stream cut off again.
If they're going to do some real well,
the revolution will not be televised. The revolution will not be litigated. It's not going to be litigated.
Any of the action that I think that can be taken that is going to put a halt to this, even slow it down in a meaningful way, it's going to have to be drastic, and it's not going to come from elected officials.
No. They do need to do something, though, because the idea that we're the constituents calling the people who we pay to be like, hello, do you know someone has essentially stole your job? They are taking all your power from you. Do you care about your job? That is, I would say, not alarming, because Congress unfortunately has proven over the past few years to be a little bit wuckless. It is annoying of okay, well, what exactly going to happen right now? Oh, did the stream cut off again?
That's what
Is it
I'm
back?
wondering. I don't know.
I saw somebody said, "What just happened?" Look at
What's
you.
the? Did it get knocked down
YouTube
again?
said.
Oh no,
YouTube
we're finding out today all the like things.
YouTube said y'all have to stop playing around.
Yeah,
Oops.
no, we don't. We condone violence.
I do. That's how we got a lot of rights. That's the truth of the matter. Anybody who loves history knows that. Despite what the YouTube policy team wants to think, by cutting off certain parts. Hopefully it's back on. It didn't send another email.
No, everyone's saying we're still here. I think somebody might be like watching from the beginning
Oh,
and
okay.
got
I
to
see.
the cutoff part, and then it was like, dang, that like, you know what I mean?
Oh,
They're watching the replay. Okay, guys, don't scare us. We're like 25 minutes in here.
one of the things that I think because the DNC is extremely lazy, unfortunately, which is why we either I don't know if they can even be reformed right now out of their laziness, or if we need a new people focused party.
But why would
And
the corporate entity of a political party engage in violence?
gauge in what? Oh, you really wanted to get cut off?
I'm just asking that. I think maybe
Exactly. It's not in their
maybe
interest.
our expectations of what the Democrats and the DNC can do right now is is
I think
unrealistic.
so. I think realistically, as a corporate entity that takes lots of billions of dollars in lobbying, because they don't care about our 120, 170K, depending on their range that we're paying them. I think what they could realistically do, because what Elon and his team of like less than 10 young men engineers are doing is they are pressuring the actual government employees that work at the Treasury Department. They're trying to do this with the Department of Education now, where they're pressuring the people in the actual job to be like, okay, give me the access code. So I think what the DNC could do is protect those actual government employees, because while they're telling Elon and his team no, because originally they said no, they then clearly were fearful. They were threatened with their job. They were then put on leave after telling him no. The DNC could do a better job to insulate those people, because how do you expect people to do their job when the maniacal billionaire is like, yeah, I'm going to fire you, and it's a recession and you and your kids are going to starve?
Yeah, I think the DNC could do a better job to letting different voices be heard. Yeah, I'm glad that Jamie Harrison is out as the chair of the DNC, but at this point, letting voices be heard is just going to feel like a platitude. And
Yeah.
so at this juncture, all the things they're going to do are just symbolic gestures. And I do not think they are the people that we can expect to take the meaningful action. I don't know.
Yeah. What they are doing it's not a good strategy, but I guess from a strategic point on their end, they are encouraging this slew of lawsuits. So the next article is discussing like what the DNC are trying to act as if it's a win. So this is from The Hill. Judge blocks Musk DOGE from accessing Treasury payment systems. It should be noted, if you scroll down a little bit, there's only like one paragraph in here I think it's worth reading verbatim. You can pause it here, I think. Can you go up a little bit? Maybe it was on top of this one. Okay, here is good. The court's firm assessment is that for the reasons by the states, they will face irreparable harm in the absence of injunctive relief. I forget. Okay, here we go. He also ordered anyone who is now blocked, aka the DOGE team, which again, DOGE is a questionable potential government agency that is not officially actually a government agency, to immediately destroy any material they've already downloaded. They've already downloaded 330 million social security numbers. Who is going to enforce them actually deleting that information? And so the DNC trying to push this narrative out, like, see, the judge blocked it, like, we're saved, everyone relax. I don't think everyone should relax, because what is the likelihood that they are actually going to comply with this court injunction when they have not complied with really any rule of law at this point?
That's kind of like, if they're going to buck the system, why won't they just continue to buck the system? Then why are we trying to use the system to stop them? If they're like, fuck y'all, they just being flagrant. Let me not get
which
us
is
blocked out. Let me watch my language. We on thin ice.
on Patreon. We can discuss because I have some real thoughts, and I'm like, this is not.
Maybe this should be a Patreon series.
It was already on Patreon before. It'll stay public. But realistically, the idea that we could all like take a back seat and then just watch the elected officials figure it out and duke it out for us, it's not going to happen. Unfortunately.
There needs to be some grassroots organizations that are really taking a much more firm stand on things.
Yes, like a grassroots organization, you can, as an act of protest, you are guaranteed the right to protest in numbers. A grassroots organization could say, hey, not only are we going to protest, we are going to go into the Department of Education and we are going to stand here and protect the people in the Department of Education. That is something a grassroots protest could do. You have the legal right to protest in public spaces. That is not something the DNC is going to do. They're going to sit in their office. And that's a very calm, nonviolent, because, people want to hear the nonviolence first, nonviolent way to be like, okay, let Musk and his team of 7 to 12 young engineers come and ask for, the access codes. We will be standing at the door to tell you, no, we're not giving them to you. Now, the then question would be, when they start to push past you at the door, then what are you willing to do?
I do wonder, like, as Latasha's asking, how did they explain their reasoning for getting access? What did their lawyers, did their lawyers even present an argument? Was there any presentation? Was there justification?
In the motions they filed, and I feel like calling them DOGE kind of legitimizes them, because then you're like, yeah, this is a government agency. But it's really not. Like, this is very much, they were created on January 20th, 2025, when Trump was sworn in. So this Trump group, maybe that's the best way to call them, Trump and Musk group, they presented the argument that the president has given Elon Musk the designation of what they call special government employee. And a special government employee is somebody who works less than 170 days, I believe. It's a certain number. It's either 130 or 170. And in the mandate of creating this possibly illegal government agency, in their mandate, it states that the agency will cease to exist on July 4th, 2026. So next year. So the agency itself will not exist for longer than that time. And then Musk will work a lesser amount of days. And his entire mandate, according to the original documents by executive order, mind you, is how Trump created this agency, was that Musk and his team are supposed to be curtailing government spending. So they are going after people's social security numbers under the fake guise of like, well, there's Medicare fraud and there's social security fraud and there's disability fraud and y'all are frauding. So we need to see all of this so we can root it out. That doesn't make logical sense, but that is the argument that they are presenting.
And sure, there's some bureaucracy issues caught up in these systems. The government is large, it's vast, it's overseeing a very complex, system of things. I would think, and then you got to get into the weeds of the block grants that they give out to the states. And the fraud happens with how the states use the grants because, a certain party advocated for states' rights and that the federal government should not be doing the oversight to guarantee that things happen in a very particular way, that the states should be given latitude to decide how they want to deal with this funding. And so are we going after that white football player that embezzled money in Mississippi?
Brett Favre. Sorry
for
yelling. The Brett Favre embezzled not only, let me give you the exact amount because this is objectively
I will pull it up
wild.
Because
we need to pull up because Brett, I did a video on this a while, like a couple years ago, when Jackson, Mississippi was facing their, state created water crisis. It happened in Jackson, Mississippi is a predominantly black city. And so the state of Mississippi, since it's run by Republicans and a lot of them are very racist, they hate Jackson, Mississippi. So they essentially have gone through decades long defunding of the city of Jackson, Mississippi, and then particularly caused a water crisis in the predominantly black and lower income city. That then brought up the fact that Brett Favre has been stealing money from various government agencies, and particularly stealing from the welfare program. Brett Favre, who is, I think, a Hall of Famer.
I don't know. Do I care that much
He
about
has a lot of money.
football?
Yeah, I don't care enough about football. But he has a lot of money. Oh, not y'all trying to guess our signs. This is so funny. Two Aries.
Yeah,
That's
like
where
where are we
that's the
giving?
energy.
Somebody was saying a Virgo moon for you. Is your moon Virgo?
No, no. But my moon and my rising are both in Cancer. But because I'm in Aries, it always comes out very angry, my care. I'm just a lover girl deep down.
I have a
But
Taurus
very
moon. I'm
aggressive one.
very balanced. I'm very balanced, actually.
Oh, Taurus moon.
And a Gemini rising.
Love
I
that for
actually
you.
like my little placements.
Whenever anybody reads my charts, they're like, oh. And I'm like, oh. But yes, back to Brett Favre and his teething. How much money did he steal?
Yeah, like let's. I'm trying to pull
How
up these
much
stories, but
money
all the pop
did
ups
he
get in our
steal?
way.
Okay.
The
Which
nation's
he,
poorest state used welfare money to pay Brett Favre for speeches he never made. The state auditor
yes.
says 70 million in federal welfare funds went to Favre, a volleyball complex, and a former pro wrestler in a scandal that has rocked Mississippi. Like
$70 million. It was
that, and
him and then a mother-son team that were doing
he
this for, I believe, over a decade.
Brett Favre earned nearly $140 million and millions more in public endorsements. But that didn't stop the state of Mississippi from paying Favre 1.1 million in 2017 and 2018 to make motivational speeches out of federal welfare funds intended for needy families. The
Hmm.
state auditor said Favre never gave the speeches and demanded the money back with interest. He's
Which is
repaid
wild.
the fees, but not the $228,000 in interest. And this is, it's funny because it's $70 million in temporary aid for needy families. I always get on my high horse about Bill Clinton dismantling welfare, replacing it with TAMF, allowing it to be privatized, and the amount of fraud that now exists in the welfare side, and not from welfare recipients, it is from the private organizations that come in. And in the Medicaid, Medicare space, there's a lot of private companies that offer the technology that allow for the medical billing, and then they go from medical billing to now they house all the nurses and they house all the programs. There's fraud caught up in the corporations and how
Yes.
capitalism is imbued into these systems. And so it's crazy to me that Elon Musk is given all this political power to get rid of waste in the government by simply going after the recipients of social services and not the corporate institutions that run up the bureaucracy for their own profit. That's
Hmm.
insane to me.
And a lot of people, it's interestingly enough, like Musk has a very like devoted fan base, which is very strange that somehow they think they too will become a billionaire, even though all of us are much closer to being unhoused than to ever being a billionaire.
Mm.
And a lot of their new pushback is Musk is worth $300 billion. What does he want your social security check for? That is an obscene level of greed. He has survived on that obscene level of greed. There is no end point. He just wants to thief. He has been stealing all of this money. The Mississippi welfare scam, it was a mother son charity that they founded in corporation. They stole the $70 million. Part of it went to the University of Mississippi itself, I believe, via Brett Favre, trying to get them some like new stadium, etc. They were just doing all this stuff and they got caught because the number was obscene. $70 million for you to be stealing. It's never about the money itself. It's about the idea of like, well, I can get away with this, so why not? And so they continue to do it. The mind of a scammer is not a straight line. And Elon
It's
Musk is
not,
no
and I
better
think
at
him
it.
being worth a certain amount of money doesn't mean that he has a capital.
Exactly. There's a gray not to get all the way off topic, I'll find it for next time. There's a great 3-minute video that explains the ultra 0.001% of the 1%, how money actually functions with them. And a lot of them are living off of astronomical, to us, to regular people, levels of loans where they have an asset and they just take out a loan against the asset. Elon Musk is one such person, which is interesting, which is why he's currently fighting in Delaware court to get his obscene bonus from, I believe it was from Tesla, and the Tesla board is trying to give it to him, but the stockholders are like, we are not paying you $100 million. For what? What did you do? So, oof.
All right, do you want
This honorable mention to Brett Favre.
Do you want to get into this student loan and the FERPA?
Oh gosh, we'll do that. I guess we can do that quickly.
Has it been an hour already?
That's why I'm like, what time did we get on here?
Late.
Right? Okay, so it hasn't. Oh, we got here on here at 10, right? Oh, we have time. Okay, bringing this up because as Elon Musk and his non-authorized department go after all these government agencies, over the weekend they decided they wanted to go after the Department of Education. The Republicans have long been wanting to get rid of the federal Department of Education because they want everybody to be uneducated. It's easier to control an uneducated populace, and sadly people have bought into this. The interesting turn of events, though, as somebody who's paying off my 6-figure debts, was somehow, let's just say well-meaning. I'm not going to get into people's intentions. Somehow, well-meaning people on TikTok decided that if Elon Musk has access to our private information, now we can magically get all of our student loans erased. And I just want to walk through how filing a private right of action and a claim actually works. It works the same way, regardless of what the claim is, and why we should take information with a grain of salt, particularly when that person, does not actually objectively have the legal background. So for context, because I never say this at the beginning of our stuff, I'm a recovering lawyer. I worked in tech for 7 years. I have a good legal background. That's what the channel is called, Allegedly Stephanie. Anyways, this is not legal advice. This is observation and some very basic research. So what is FERPA? And this is how this started. FERPA is the Family Educational Rights and Privacy Act. After Elon Musk, over the weekend, started his process of gaining access to the Department of Education, a lot of people rightfully stated, hey, that man is not supposed to have access to my student loan information. I should be entitled to something. And you're right. Be like Denzel and leave with something. What we're not leaving with is getting rid of all of our student loans. So people then, because a content creator said so, decided that somehow if Elon Musk has access to your student loan information, now you can call Credit Karma, any type of credit union, and say that you do not recognize the charges. That is the beginnings of fraud. Please don't do that. Don't mess up your credit listening to someone on TikTok and say that because he's violated FERPA that you do not have to pay back your student loans. That is not correct. So this is subpart E. Let me see directly which part I want to read to y'all. 97.67 of FERPA.
97.67?
Yes.
Not 99.
99.67.
Okay, I was like, girl, you about to have me scrolling for hours.
Sorry. 99.67.
Stephanie. Here we go.
There we go. Perfect. And then subpart E, you don't have to, it's on the screen and I'm going to read it from here. So how does the secretary enforce decisions? First, FERPA, the act itself, applies to educational institutions. In this instance, we have somebody who is not an educational institution violating our privacy rights. Sadly, the United States is one of the few colonizing powers that does not have national privacy rights. They don't exist in this country. We have ad hoc privacy rights via certain states. So you have the CCPA in California, California Consumer Privacy Act. And then basically most companies now try to model the GDPR, which is the EU privacy rights. But we don't actually have federal privacy rights really in this country. So essentially, now when you're enforcing the rights of students, so the rights to have your information protected, according to FERPA, this is 99.67. How does the secretary enforce these decisions if you were to file a complaint? Which I think everyone should file a complaint because they are not supposed to be accessing our information. Subsection E. If the office finds that a third party outside the educational agency or institution improperly rediscloses personally identifiable information from education records in violation of subsection 99.33 or fails to provide the notification required, then the educational agency or institution, which DOGE is not an educational agency, maybe loose interpretation, you could see them as an institution, may not allow the third party found to be reasonably responsible for the violation access to personally identifiable information from education records for at least 5 years. There is unfortunately no direct private right of action for Elon Musk getting access to our Social Security. That doesn't mean you can't sue. It just means that it's not currently in the law. You can always pay the filing fee. And there is no direct private right of action via FERPA. The only action that they're saying they will take if somebody accesses your student loan information, your student information, is, okay, we'll tell that person they can't access it anymore for 5 years. That's it. Calling Credit Karma and disputing your loans that you signed a promissory note for is going to cause potentially an issue with the credit bureau. The credit bureau is not just going to erase it because you told them all of a sudden you didn't sign for that student loan 10 years ago. Unfortunately. However, it may also look like fraud because, again, when I signed for my student loans at 18 years old and nobody wanted to explain compound and daily interest to me, my signature is still there. It's predatory. It's unfair. I have all the complaints about it. There's a whole student loan series that's run for 5 years on my channel. However, this level of disinformation of giving people a false sense of hope is, in my opinion, very unkind. It's a very unkind thing to do for views. And it also causes a level of pandemonium that might have real life consequences if you go and claim fraud for something that is not fraudulent. Which it's fraudulent what he did, but it's not, the loan itself is not fraudulent.
So I can't get my loans released because he wrongfully accessed.
No.
So what you're saying is we just need Anonymous to come and hack the system.
Yes. Listen here, you white hat hackers. Y'all need to get back to the community. That's the answer. Also, I think one of the things that this kind of pointed out to me was because of the way the cycle of virality goes online and because of the excitement. And I think really what's rooted in like despair. As somebody, now I've paid off $200,000 of my $304,680 and 97 trifling cents of student loans. $90,000 of that is just interest. I think along with that despair is wanting somebody to save us because honestly, it is inherently unfair. But it does make people forget about like what has happened before. Unfortunately, because we don't have good privacy in this country and privacy laws, the banks are constantly sending you an email. Oh, by the way, I think someone accessed your stuff. Sorry, girl. Here, sometimes they'll give you free credit.
When your stuff does get stolen, it's actually a huge headache to file an identity theft claim and to get your money back. It is not an easy and quick process. It is not something where, oh, I'm going to get a payout for the distress. No. Sometimes you don't even get all your money back. A lot of times you don't get all your money back.
Exactly. It's very hard and very stressful. I recommend putting your credit on file, always on a credit freeze, which I didn't know that was like a thing until I think last year. Somebody was like, oh yeah, why would you leave your credit open? So that way, if someone steals your identity and they try to apply for a mortgage, a car loan, credit cards, they can't do it. I recommend that. But yes, unfortunately, I'm so sorry that no, we're not going to get out of this unless some very kind white hat hackers decide to do some community service. So we're here. But yes, I need to put that on TikTok. So that way that's how it's going.
Your guy, Eric Adams, do you think his... Oh my gosh, they took the article down. Hold on. We were going to talk about Eric Adams. We just looked at this article at like 9:30 a.m. What is going on today?
Wild. I should have took a screenshot. So the article, I think the title was Eric Adams' aide to take the fall.
Will plead guilty.
Yes, will plead guilty to basically receiving funds from the Turkish government. It was along the lines. What? About white hat hackers, how would that help?
Oh, why did Politico take the article down?
Oh, there we go. Oh, that's so strange. I wonder why. To answer Tantra's question, you can hack anything.
And get
Not
rid of
that you
anything.
should.
Like hack it and take it all down. I want to owe the
Our
Department of
student loans live
Education
on a server.
nothing. I want to owe federal loans nothing. My private loans are all paid off. I only have federal loans.
I only have federal loans too, because that Sally Mae loan, that was a bitch. That was a 10% loan. And again, just for legal coverage. Not that I'm jokingly encouraging, do what your spirit leads you to do. But yeah, our student loans live on the server. They are essentially dots on the screen that have very real negative impacts on our life.
Former aides, Adams aide allowed to plead guilty to conspiracy in straw donations case. The aide, Mohammed Bahi, has been accused of telling a witness to lie to federal agents investigating illegal contributions to Mayor Eric Adams' campaign. Mohammed Bahi's center, a former liaison to New York City's Muslim community under Mayor Eric Adams, has been in talks with prosecutors, raising the possibility that he might cooperate against the mayor. Can
That's
Eric Adams run for re-election?
My answer is a hopefully no. I want to put out something really quick from Team McSwain around freezing your credit. Their point was freeze your elders' credit. There's so much rampant elder abuse. That is a great suggestion. So if you have, elders in your life,
Thank
you
you.
please freeze their credit because oof, people are going after the elderly in this economy in such wild ways. Back to this. So my thing is, and I think I said this last time too, I've received no mailings. And I usually get a lot of mailings. I haven't received no mailings. I don't have like
When are the
TV.
primaries?
They're in June or July. They're coming up. And so I'm just like, where's everybody? And I looked up who's running, but I'm like, do y'all need help? Do y'all need something? Like, I don't know.
You just want to get Eric Adams out of here.
They're being a little unserious. I'm like, hello? Are y'all gonna knock? I will knock on the door. I haven't seen anything yet, so I need us to go on and trek through the snow. It's only about an inch on the ground, if that. In June. Thank you, Latoya. It's in June. So it's coming up. 4 months. I need them to get a little faster. I am curious because the article that we highlighted, I think last week, the week before, stated that Eric Adams was in talks with the Department of Justice and the Department of Justice might be dropping his charges. So I'm curious to know now whether they've changed their mind, and I hope they have. Because what do you mean?
I'm sorry.
Or instead, the parent could advocate to send back to their country of choice the Israeli occupation forces that have taken up residence at NYU and have not only harassed but actually physically harmed multiple NYU students. That could be something more sensible.
Girl,
What an awful suggestion. But the hair decided no.
I'm just like, people, the times are,
The times are dismal. I'm not going. The times.
like I was scrolling, I was trying to like read on the particulars of this Eric Adams thing. Because it's this man taking a plea basically so he can set Adams up and really put him in the clinker.
Mm-hmm.
And then they're going all this back and forth about Alex Spiro, who's Adam's attorney, versus, like Adam's story is forever changing. And then I see this story at the bottom. Like, first of all these news stories are kind of crazy.
And I think they're designed to be that way.
Look at
this. It's ridiculous.
What is happening in New York right now?
New York is turning into a red state. It's ridiculous up in here.
And I clicked, so it was like the mother thing, the judge thing, and then it was the deport supporters of Hamas off of NYU's campus. And I'm just looking at this shit like, this cannot be real. I'm not. This is crazy. The news literally is insane right now.
Yeah. And we're trying to bring you news with levity. The levity is
It's,
rough.
you know what I mean? It's a lot of work. It's a lot of work. We have a TikTok.
I thought it was interesting. We don't necessarily have to cover it, but I figured if we didn't get to all of our points, we could, because it shows, to your point about how state bureaucracy is utilizing and kind of weaponizing funds. It's about the Texas lottery and how allegedly, according to the Houston Chronicle, they have been running a multi-million dollar scam.
Oh, I'm
So I thought it was really
unsurprised.
interesting. And I thought it was really interesting because the whole purpose of a lot of the state lotto systems, the alleged purpose, is that they use the lotto money to help fund the school systems. But they are saying not only did they not do that, they ran a scam into firms that were working with the Texas government agency. I forget which agency exactly, that they essentially bought all of the tickets available.
Yeah.
So that way they made themselves the winner of the lotto.
I
Which I
was
was like,
like,
isn't that inherently against what a lottery is?
oh, I can't even, like, can I even get on this? I'm like, can I even get on the news story?
Oh yeah, that's why
Y'all be eating
that's
me
what
up. Oh my gosh. All these paywalls. I get it. Media is in shambles. They need to make their coin. But damn. Can I get one free article a month?
they said no.
Yeah, they was
It's
like,
ironic when Washington Post asked me to pay and then the headline is democracy dies in the darkness. I'm like, well, is giving darkness because you want my money and I don't
well,
have
I
any.
guess we're just gonna have to watch
This
the.
is the journalist from the Houston Chronicle for what it's worth. So a much more, I would say, journalistic TikTok with the actual journalist.
All right, let me play the video.
Chronicle's investigation team. So I've been writing a lot about a nearly 2-year-old Lotto Texas draw. In April 2023, the jackpot had grown to $95 million, and one player won it. Big winners typically ask to stay anonymous, so the one-time payout of about $57 million was collected by an entity calling itself Rook Texas. It was the third highest in the game's history, but what really made the game interesting is that Rook won the massive jackpot in a way a lot of people think is cheating. It bought virtually every number combination, more than 25 million in all. So Rook was guaranteed to have the winning ticket. The only risk it took was that another player might also have the right numbers, but we calculated the chances of that happening were only about 8%. As I've dug into this story, one thing has become very clear. Rook couldn't have pulled off the operation without the help of state lottery officials. They made sure the 4 ticket outlets that frantically processed tens of millions of tickets between draws had plenty of equipment and paper. They also seem to have ignored a few of their own rules along the way. But how high up did the official help go? An unusual new report by Texas auditors provided the answer: all the way to the top. All of the outlets that worked to make sure a single player won the jackpot were new companies that let players buy tickets online. Their business is controversial. It's opposed by a number of lawmakers. The former director of the Texas Lottery Commission said the agency couldn't regulate them and so had nothing to do with their operations. But it turns out that behind the scenes, he was actually helping them quite a bit. You can read more about it in my latest story, HoustonChronicle.com.
Okay, I thought that looked familiar, and as you can see on the video, I did favorite it, and but I read it in January. Houston Chronicle, give me my one free read for the month of February. Ugh. But I did go read the article, and it was
I was like, this is fascinating for all the wrong reasons, but fascinating.
very much so that like they basically were using a company that invested like $50,000 into building out software to run all these numbers and purchase all these tickets, but 50K is a small drop in the bucket for a $57 million payout.
After taxes.
And then there's no, as you say, there's no enforcement body. And that is
Mm-mm.
what always gets me. Like when you make that point about like, okay, a judge can rule something but it still has to be enforced. Isn't the same true for the Supreme Court?
Yes. And we're seeing, sadly, I think the highlight of there's no enforcement arm is the UN. Oh, how am I forgetting right now? It starts with an I. The actual criminal court, the ICJ. The criminal court, the ICJ ruled last year. Hey, Israel is conducting not only a genocide. This is an apartheid state. Stop. Leave the people alone. Stop the foolishness. There is no enforcement body to enforce Israel to do that. So what did they continue to do?
What they
Nonsense. And
wanted
in the
to,
United States,
but like,
uh-uh.
why is it always conservative policy that can be enforced so quickly and progressive policy that is ignored? And part of that is because this dead horse that I want to constantly beat on, Republicans have focused on the state for the past 30 years. So they have an apparatus at the state level that allows Product 2025 to happen,
Yeah.
that allows Supreme Court rulings to immediately be enforced. It's like when you think about Brown versus Board of Education, what is that, 1964?
1954, but it took
54,
all the way into the
54. But it
70s.
took,
to be
yeah,
enforced.
because they had to send the Coast
Yeah,
Guard in, they had
National
to send the
Guard.
National Guard
Mhm.
in. They have to send enforcement to get states to enact the policy. You think about
Yep.
the Emancipation Proclamation, but we celebrate Juneteenth because it took so long for the message. And Texas was largely, even like the idea of Texas and white men of Texas was they didn't want to lose their slaves. So they were moving further
They ignored it.
west.
Exactly. The
And
story is
Texas,
often told as if they didn't know. I'm like, they knew. They were like, who's gonna come over here and make me do it? And they just continued on.
so it's like, this anytime there's a policy that somehow makes it to the Supreme Court that is about broadening the rights of human beings in this country, about providing social services and the right to respect and citizenship in this country, it takes decades. It takes a huge enforcement push in order to enact. But a conservative ruling gets passed and it's immediate. And then any state that like bucks that system is immediately challenged by this whole conservative apparatus. Like they have a bottom up movement and they are ready to, like, regardless of who agrees, I don't even think they need a popular vote. The fact that Trump delivered a popular vote for them in this past election was a cherry on top. But they have an apparatus that all they need is a small demanding army in the government, and they are going to ensure that they can put up a fight.
I wonder if part of the ease of enforcement for conservative and Republican policies if it is that a lot of these like enforcing entities themselves do lean right wing. So like people in the armed services do lean right wing,
And the
people in the police
FBI.
force lean right wing, FBI leans right wing, and Mormon. All of these things lean, which is that's one of the most fascinating facts to me about that. How many Mormons are in the FBI? That's so interesting. All of these things lean very right wing. So even though most of these people are technically working class people that would benefit from more progressive policies. So the Republicans have done a great job in indoctrinating them into wanting to enforce it for what it's worth.
Wow. We have gotten through all our topics for today.
Yeah. We're going to sign up to be a progressive enforcer. If
We're
it
gonna
means I
have
can
to-
pop people with books, I will sign up. That'll be fun.
We're gonna have, yeah. When I think about like
I
enforcement,
would like that. Good job.
I think back to like FDR's New Deal and like that landmark legislation. Sorry, the braces are eating me up. Y'all. Thank you all for being patient.
You've been doing a good job. I didn't even hear it until then.
But the landmark legislation and the New Deal, and it created all these new agencies. And then it needed oversight to ensure that these agencies were being run properly because Jim Crow racism. And that some of the agencies didn't even just necessarily fall through because the Republicans, well, at that point, it's, FDR was a Democrat, but the Democrats were the Southern Democrats. So the party change happened under like that 1930s, 1960s wave is when we see the party change over. But regardless of party affiliation, people that were looking to disenfranchise African Americans, people that believed in Jim Crow, regardless of party affiliation, were very immediately passing laws to stop the influence of the New Deal, to stop the creation of new agencies that provided social services. But even with those laws being passed as soon as the New Deal comes comes to pass, some of the agencies, like the Tennessee Valley Agency, don't survive because there needs to be an Office of Accountability to ensure. And when the accountability offices get dismantled, then the programs die out.
That makes sense. That's currently now, I think, who did we talk about on last week, Friday? The Office of Management and Budget, what essentially functions like that for the White House. And now it's being run by the architect of Project 2025.
And it's hard. Like all the oversight agencies that probably needed to be expanded. Truly, we really do need more government. If we're gonna have free market capitalism in this country, we need more government oversight.
You need regulations. Like nobody inherently, not nobody. People have shown that without consequences, they don't do the right thing for the general public.
They will dump toxins into your spring water and lie
Just
about it.
for giggles and be like, well, it was cheaper and I was being lazy.
Nobody will know, And so, it is what it is. Well, we'll have to get into it next episode. See y'all on Thursday.
Yes.
Hopefully that Twitch and if our YouTube is at 1,000, maybe we will be more thoughtful about copyright, because then we can monetize once we have 1,000 subscribers.
I'm not gonna lie. The lawyer in me was like, it should be fine. Whatever. They already got their money off of it.
I'm going to have to clip down this video and re-upload it so people can watch it, because it's like a 5-minute break.
Oh, dang. And then just put something. Here's a static picture on the screen. Okay. Well, I appreciate this. Appreciate y'all as always. Stay lifted and gifted. And whatever else rhymes. Don't let them get you down. That's what they want.
Have a good Monday, y'all. Stay productive.
Have a good
Thank you to the chat. Love y'all. Bye.